let's discuss what happens in the long run. So in the short run, okay, obviously we're going to operate when we have profits, and then we're going to shut down whenever we're below our average variable cost. Okay, so we have our options there. Now the thing is that what the current industry is doing, it's giving information for what's going to happen next. And so in the coffee market, let's just say it's identical. They have an identical latte. And we see firms are earning profits from this. Okay, so a lot of consumers are wanting to buy coffee, so the coffee industry is booming. There are a lot of profits being made for all the firms. So what's going to happen here? Like if your friend made $1,000 selling coffee at a farmer's market, you might start thinking about starting your own coffee stand as well in order to get in on this competition and steal some profits. So that is going to affect the market. In fact, in the market here, when we see profits happening, okay, we are going to have entry when new firms enter the market in response to increased industry profits. For example, your friend made $2,000 this weekend selling coffee, so you think about starting one as well. So you enter the market, okay? Now, the long run process, remember all inputs are variable in the long run, so a lot of things can change. So the other thing is that in the exit process, the long run process of reducing production in response to a sustained pattern of losses. If your price goes below ABC, you're earning losses, and then you're going to shut down. So when you shut down, that affects the market. So what we're going to have here is two things happening. Is the entry is going to happen whenever there's profits being made, and then whenever we have losses, we're going to have exit of firms. So in the long run, eventually we're going to reach an equilibrium where firms are going to enter and then that stops, and then firms are going to exit and then that stops. So when do we come to a long run equilibrium? Well, that's going to be when there are zero profits to be made. So when all firms earn zero economic profits, producing the output where price equals MR equals MC, because that's your profit maximization point, but also your price is equal to your ATC. So your long run equilibrium here, right here, is going to be where your price equals your ATC. That is where we have no more entry and we have no more exit from the firms. Okay? There's no profits to be made, and all the firms are not earning losses. Nothing need to be changed here. So let me show you kind of like how this works in terms of a graph. So let's do this in steps. So we're going to draw the shift in industry to begin with. So for that one, we will go down here. We will have our market graph, demand, supply. We'll have our price, and we'll have our quantity. We'll take this price because we're price takers. And this is your demand curve, which is also your marginal revenue. This is your marginal cost. And again, we're earning profits, meaning your price is above your ATC. So that means we need to draw the ATC below this point. So you just need to draw it below your price. Okay? So this area here between your price and your ATC, this is your profit region. Okay, so this is how we're going to draw our market here. All right. Now the next thing happens is there's an increase in the cost of a key input. So like the cost of coffee increases. So that's going to do two things. Okay. Number one, it's going to affect the marginal cost of what you're doing, and it's going to affect the average total cost of your product. Okay, so we'll increase this marginal cost here, and we'll increase the average total cost here. All right. So as you can see here, where is your new profit maximization point? Well, it used to be right here, but now it is right here, and right here, where your MR equals MC, the new marginal cost. So right here. So because of the cost of the key input increasing, you now are selling less coffee, right? And we talked about that before, where If something is more expensive, you buy less of it, so you make less of it. So that's what we see here. And we can actually prove profit maximization wise is actually, you still earn profit max at a lower quantity, okay? So that is how a shift happens in the graph here for the firm, all right? What's the next thing? We'll look at what happens when there's an increase in the consumer's income. So on that one, what would happen is we would have our market, so demand, supply, price, quantity, and then here, price takers, so we take this price, that's the demand, all right, and we have a marginal cost here, and then let's say we have our ATC here, so we are earning losses, but we don't shut down because our, let's just say our price is above our average variable cost. If there was an increase in consumers' income, and coffee is a normal good, then let's say demand would be higher, right? More money, more demand. So let's shift the demand curve. Now, the firm is separate from the market, right? The consumers over here, that's what's changing. So we will shift up the graph here. Let's call it D2. So now we have a new price way over here. P2, Q2, and guess what happens to the firm's price? The firm can now charge a higher price because the market price has increased. So now it's called as D2 and MR2. What's happening with this firm now? They were having losses, right? So they were earning losses equal to this area here, but because of the increase in consumers' income, they are now earning profits equal to this area here. Okay. So now going back to what we talked about with the long run, what happens next? If there are profits in an industry, then firms enter the market. Now, if firms enter the market, how does that affect the market? Will that change the demand or the supply? If there are more firms supplying, then we will change the supply curve. And so this is going to look kind of confusing, but here's what's going to happen. All right? More firms enter the market. So we will increase the supply curve. More supply to the right. So we will draw a supply curve right here. Let's call this S2. When this happens, we create a new price right here. As you can see here, because more firms enter, supply increases, which did lower price, but it did increase the quantity. All right? So prices go down, quantity goes up. So what does that mean for the firm? The firm now has to charge a lower price. It's more competitive, lower price. So now, at this P3, we have a new demand curve. So I got to take this away. So this P3 here is their new demand curve. And guess what happens? This is their new profit maximization point. And what do you notice? The new price is the same as the ATC. So prices will decrease until, supply will increase, meaning firms enter, and price will go down until price equals ATC, which illustrates the long run equilibrium. We could go the other way and see the same thing happen. If there were losses in an industry, that would look like this. We would have our market graph, we would have our firm graph, price, quantity, demand, marginal cost, ATC here. So again, we're having our losses. So what's going to happen? Because there are losses, some firms will exit. And then because that happens, there's less people selling, so less supply, which will increase the price, decreases the market quantity though. So we will decrease the price, decrease the supply, creating a new price way over here. So now the firms that do remain in business can now charge a higher price. So now they're right here. So they were earning losses, but now because they can charge a higher price, they will make more, to where now price will increase until price equals ATC, which again is your long run equilibrium. Remember, the market always returns to the equilibrium, and the same happens in the long run equilibrium. The cool thing is you can see here, because we have less firms, the firms that do stick around can actually sell more, and that's how they're able to earn more profits and less losses. Okay, so that is the long run adjustment. Whenever there's a change in the market, that changes your profits and your losses, and that will change the amount of firms in the market until eventually profits again equal zero. All right, and the next thing we'll talk about what kind of industries we have because of this. All right.